Hello and welcome. My name is Al Barrows, and this is UFO Disclosure, the podcast that's meant to show an average person's reaction to all the UFO, UAP news from everywhere and anywhere. Today, I'd like to relate something that I saw on the Global UFO channel. It's about Bob Lazar, who claimed to have worked at Area 51, a very secretive facility that it has long been rumored houses extraterrestrial craft and their pilots. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar contacted a television station in Las Vegas and claimed to have worked as a physicist on a top secret project called Galileo, which involved the study of extraterrestrials and the back engineering of their technology. The research was conducted at an underground base called S4, located 16 kilometers south or 9.9 miles south of Area 51. He claimed to have worked on technology hundreds of years more advanced than today's modern technology. And ever since he went public with this story, he has received numerous threats, and at one point, he was even shot at by an unknown assailant. Now, television journalist George Knapp became interested in this story and began seeking more information, but he immediately ran into a massive problem. Area 51, or the S4 quadrant, is in a restricted area, and it is impossible for someone outside the Area 51 authorities to directly visit this place. Also, to confirm or deny Lazar's story and his background became very challenging. Lazar himself claimed that the government erased all his records, all the records of his employment at Los Alamos laboratories, his college degree, and even his birth records in the hospital. George Knapp, the journalist, was very instrumental in not only verifying Bob Lazar's identity, but also in verifying that he had worked at Area 51. Bob Lazar claimed to have worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, but there is no record of his employment. So George Knapp continued digging and found his name appearing in an old telephone directory of scientists from the Los Alamos Laboratory. He even found an old edition of the Los Alamos Monitor magazine where there is a picture of Bob Lazar. And former Area 51 employees also came forward and confirmed knowing Bob Lazar. These are all important pieces of information because U.S. intelligence agencies tried to discredit Bob Lazar. So Bob Lazar did indeed work in Area 51 at the S4 quadrant between December the 12th, 1988 and April the 4th, 1989. And during that period, he claimed to have had access to highly classified information. He also alleges that he saw classified documents and the autopsy of extraterrestrials. The main purpose, though, of his work was what's known as reverse engineering, specifically the reverse engineering of a crashed extraterrestrial spacecraft. According to his claims, there were 9 different types of spacecraft hidden in hangars deep underground. He worked on these craft. Bob Lazar worked on UFOs about 9 to 12 meters or 29 to 39 feet, where the consoles and seats were very small, almost like they were made for children. He was told that the aliens came from the 4th planet of the binary star system, Zeta Reticuli. And in an interview, Bob Lazar stated that the alien spacecraft operated on the principle of amplifying gravitational waves using a reactor that used element 115 as a fuel. This element cannot be synthesized on Earth. But wait, is that true? Or do we now have element 115? Element 115 is supposedly the source of gravity, and the wave it generates distorts space and time. Travel of this type of propulsion enables invisible flight. So according to that principle, UFOs aren't really invisible. They're just distorting space and time. So it's a byproduct of the propulsion itself, which distorts space and time. The spacecraft does not move linearly. It can warp space and cover vast distances in a fraction of a second. So I guess UFOs contradict Einstein's principle that nothing can travel faster than light. I'd like to switch gears now and show you an interview where Bob Lazar explains everything himself.
The American government denies that this place even exists. But this Russian satellite photo tells a different story, showing huge hangars and an enormous runway. The place is Area 51 in the Nevada desert. It was built in the 1950s to test top-secret aircraft. The stealth fighter was developed here. Security's tight inside and outside the base. American scientist Robert Lazar claimed he worked in the highest security section called S4.
The security was unbelievably oppressive. There was a security guard everywhere following you all the time. There was never any free discussion allowed, which is the basis of science.
Recently, Lazar caused a sensation when he revealed that he'd been ordered to investigate the propulsion systems of captured alien spacecraft.
My work involved the back engineering of an extraterrestrial craft, specifically the propulsion and power source. The UFOs are very typical. As far as a typical UFO is, it's two inverted dishes, two inverted pie plates, if you wish, and with a hump on the top. Metallic looking, no wings, no fins, no visible propulsion source. Inside they're very sparse. If you come in the main entryway, you'll see 3 seats, the central reactor and waveguide that goes to the ceiling, the 3 gravity amplifiers surrounding it, and you'll really see just about nothing else.
The authorities immediately denied his claims, and now he says they've tried to erase his identity from all official records. George Knapp is a well-respected investigative reporter with KLAS-TV. He broke the story, including the claim that Lazar worked at Los Alamos in New Mexico, where the atomic bomb was developed.
The lab denied any knowledge of his existence, denied that he'd ever worked there. We came back with a phone book from the lab that shows Bob's name in it, that he was, in fact, there. They still denied any knowledge that he had ever worked there. I asked Bob if he'd be willing to take a polygraph test, and he didn't hesitate. The polygraph examiner, after conducting a series of 4 different tests, concluded that Bob is telling the truth about what he saw out there, about working at the base, about seeing the flying saucers, about working on anti-gravity propulsion systems, telling the truth. I had a former employee quiz him for a period of 2 hours about simple things, not where the flying saucer's stored, but where's the cafeteria? How do you pay for your meal? What's it look like inside? Those sorts of things, and that employee is convinced that Bob really was out there.
Were you threatened?
I was threatened, and my wife's life was threatened also.
And why do you think that those threats were not carried out?
Probably because that I went public.
How did these craft get into the hands of the US government?
I really have no idea how the craft got there. I don't believe there were crashes because the craft weren't damaged. And that's about all that I can say.
How do you know, though, that these were extraterrestrial craft?
First of all, we were back engineering the technology, which means we were taking a finished product and trying to figure out how it was originally designed and developed. Second of all, the technology that we're dealing with doesn't exist.
Did you ever see them fly?
They were frequently tested. They were tested normally on Wednesday nights when the traffic was lowest in the area. I saw one test close up and several tests at a distance of about 15 miles.
Whether Bob Lazar is legit or not is a subject that has been debated for decades now. Lazar claimed that he worked on extraterrestrial craft in the late 1980s, alleging that the UFOs used element 115 for gravity propulsion. Then in 2003, element 115 was actually created and called Moscovium. So I think it's too bad that even though Lazar's story has remained incredibly consistent over the past few decades, that his story is still being treated as a conspiracy theory instead of the massive part of ufology that it really is. My name is Al Barrows. This has been UFO Disclosure. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
You want to say something when I get to you? Where are we, honey?
Hi, this is Al Barrows with UFO Disclosure on site at Area 51. This is supposedly the front gate. Area 51, according to authorities, does not exist. Made this sign just so that you'd be able to know where we are. and I'm hoping to get some sort of an interview while I'm here. Thank you.